In the book of James, chapter 4, verse 8, the scripture says, "Draw near to God, and He will draw near to you." A few verses earlier, James says that the Spirit dwells inside of us, which brings us to the conclusion that the drawing near is not a matter of proximity. For instance, if I said, my wife and I, who live together, are getting closer as we get older, it doesn't mean that our proximity is getting closer, but rather our relationship is getting deeper. And when James says, draw near to God, he is specifically referring to the deepening of relationship. So James is using the language of proximity to reveal something about a relational nearness. And it is this: when you draw near to someone, you can hear them. Have you ever been in a restaurant and someone's trying to say something to you and you can't quite hear them, so you draw near to hear? So it is with this imagery that James has chosen to use to speak to these people about drawing near to God. Literally, when you draw near to Him, you will hear Him. Have you ever been in a store, you see someone from elementary school, high school, or college, and you say, "Is that so-and-so?" So you go closer to get a better look to see if it is that person. See, when you draw close, near, not only can you hear, but you can see better. And it is in drawing close to someone that you can make contact with them. And so it is with James's imagery here. He's saying, draw near to God so that you can hear. He's saying, draw near to God so that you can see. He's saying, draw near to God that you might contact Him, directly touch Him. He's specifically encouraging us to deepen our relationship with the Lord. How do you increase depth of relationship with someone? See, the wonderful thing is that God is a person, and He can be known just like any other person can. And a relationship with a person is built upon attentive time and experience of them. So you experience the person through attentive time, not just time with them, but attention to them in that time. This is how we draw near to God, taking attentive time to experience Him and come to know Him in a deeper way. He goes on to say that if you let the world in between you and God, it is a downward spiral and it will turn you against God. He says whoever becomes, or whoever is a friend of the world, becomes an enemy of God. It starts out just being friends with the world, and then it works its way in to turn your heart against God. And James is saying, here is the remedy. Draw near to God, and He will draw near to you. A few verses earlier, when James recognizes that the Spirit of God lives in us, he says something very incredible about the internal residence of God's presence. He says, the Spirit is jealously desiring you, jealously living inside of you. In other words, when other things get more attentive time than Him, He is replaced. There's a story of a man who was approached by a king, and the king said, "I'll give you whatever you want. What is it?" And the man said, "The only thing I ask is that you, king, do not stand between me and the rays of the sun." In other words, if the man represents the Christian and the king represents the world, this is how it looks. Is that what does the world want to give to you? Listen, you can give to me whatever you want. Just don't stand between me and the reception of the rays of the sun. The beauty, simplicity, purity, joy, peace, and bliss of His person. So as long as the world does not stand between you and the receiving of all that the sun is to you, then it is not eclipsing Him. But whenever the world stands between you and God, what begins to happen is the beauty, simplicity, purity, joy, power, enrichment, life, bliss of God gets blocked and obstructed in our lives. And that's when you're on a downward spiral to the world and your interest in your own life taking God's place and turning your heart against him in the long run. I pray for you that you would hear in your heart a call from God to draw near to him in this time, to take these next few weeks and find time to block out, to give him attention, attentive time. He will meet you and you will see and you will hear and you will experience him and come to know him deeper and deeper. Let me encourage you to look through the channel and see the hours of free teaching that we have here, the hours of free worship instrumentals and short films that we've put together. Search through the channel. If you can, encourage other people to subscribe to the channel and access all of this free, spiritually enriching material. God bless you guys.